All right, welcome to a spacing example, right? So for the sake of this video, I'm going to teach you guys some shit about spacing. Spacing is incredibly powerful, especially if you understand how to use it effectively. Players that are more seasoned, that have a lot of time on their hands for some reason to play the video game all day, they're going to be able to master this. So spacing doesn't just happen when you go for a combo string and then you see that big ass gap between the both of you. Spacing can also happen when you're spacing out your normals, you know, to its maximum range. There's a lot that goes into it, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to focus on Melina's forward 144. And there's a spacing situation going on there, and there's certain responses that a Melina player would make. And as a Johnny Cage player, you're going to try and figure out, well, as a Johnny Cage player, your goal is to figure out what can you do to prevent the player from doing certain options. And you also have to look on the opposing side and figure out what is their options to stop you from doing your options to their options. And it's basically a mind game just in general, right? Now, this is a warning to beginner players. If you're a beginner player trying to learn shit, I highly recommend you go to Street Fighter, King of Fighters, or you go to Tekken or Dead or Alive, or a real fighting game. Mortal Kombat is not a real fighting game competitively. It's shit, I think, and I said what I said, and I'm not taking it back. I'm a firm believer of that, and I haven't even labbed in this game yet. And this is the only situation where labbing is about to happen, right? There's potential to a certain degree, but Mortal Kombat is just a party game to me. That's why I don't take it serious. So let's get back to it. So I can't decide whether or not I want to pick the hat spammer or I actually want to pick the turn stealer. So for the sake of this video, we're going to pick the hat spammer, actually. Makes it the more official. Right? So we'll just go here. So when it comes to Melina's forward 144, right? Melina's 4-4 creates a pushback situation, which creates the spacing situation, right? So there are Melina players that are experienced, and then there are ones that are not. And the ones that are not are just mashing down ones, and there's no real purpose or meaning behind why they're doing it. They're just doing it mainly because of the fact that they know Johnny Cage has a bunch of highs, and that's primarily the reason why they're doing it. But they don't understand why that down one is effective in this matchup when it comes to this particular situation, just in general, right? So let's look at this on a deeper level, right? What can we do to Melina if she decides to backdash? That's the first thing that we're going to focus on, right? What can we do to stop her from backdashing? Because there's a reason why a player is going to backdash. Mainly the experienced ones that have good knowledge of this, they're going to backdash for a reason, because they're trying to make you whiff certain normals so that way they can go for their forward 144, convert that into a full combo or a meterless combo and get substantial amount of damage, and then do whatever the hell they try to do on Oki. Whatever they're trying to do, you get the idea, right? So she goes for the forward 144, and the Melina player decides to backdash. In your mind, as the Johnny Cage player, you have to figure this out. Why would you backdash in this situation, right? What is the meaning behind that? Why would you do that, right? Now, this is all going to come together very shortly, right? So you block this combo string and you notice that the opponent just backdashed, right? And you don't respond just yet, but you notice that they backdashed, and then they're immediately trying to attack with like a forward one or whatever the case may be. So in your mind, you're probably confused, or you probably didn't even think about it because your brain is probably turned off half of the time, because that's what happens when you play Mortal Kombat. And you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, well, why the hell did she just, or the player just in general, backdash, right? I'm going to show you and tell you why the player backdash. Go for your standing 2, doesn't work. Standing 1, doesn't work. Down 1, doesn't work. Down 4, doesn't work, right? So you can see certain normals are not working for Johnny Cage, right? So what happens if I go for like my forward one? As you can clearly see, I can hit her. Now, what's weird about this game is that this is technically a counter but it doesn't pop up as a counter. So this gives me the impression that she's not actually getting countered, which doesn't make any sense to me, like whatsoever. And there's other situations that are just like this, which don't make any sense. So just to make the situation even better, go for a reversal, which will come out at 7 frames. Because for people who don't know, when you do go for a reversal when it comes to a special move, it shreds off 1 frame. So this is no longer 8 frames; it comes out at 7 frames. Okay, but apparently I suck at the game and I don't know shit, right? It's funny how that works, right? So, um, yeah, they need to fix that bullshit, right? So anyway, so Shadow Kick clearly works, right? But the problem with that is that it's highly unsafe and it's not something that I would recommend in this situation because it's not necessary. You have other options that are a lot better than going for a measly Shadow Kick that only gives you a little bit of damage and pushes the opponent away from you when you need to be super close to Johnny Cage, which I never really understood. Johnny Cage is a pressure character, and a lot of his normals, a lot of his special moves knock the opponent far away from him, which I never understood that. Even the Rising Star, like if I do a combo, right? I'll show you guys real quick. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's knocking the opponent away from Johnny, which I never understood because there are characters in this game that excel in close range engagements, and when they go for their combo, it doesn't knock you away from them. It keeps you actually really close to them. So I don't understand why that's the case with Johnny, but it's whatever. So anyway, she backdashes, and one of our options is to go for a forward 1, right? So what does this mean exactly? This means that we can go for a meter launcher, as you can clearly see here, and the player will end up getting comboed for it, right? So they're not going to like this very much, and they're going to respond differently to this situation because this is the main normal that's a high that Johnny Cage can go for, right? So you go for the standing 4, as you can clearly see, it doesn't work. So the main option is the advancing forward 1 in this situation for Johnny, right? The move is a high, which means that it can be neutral ducked and whiff punished, or she can mash a down 1. That's where the down 1 comes into play when it comes to a Melina player. Now, if you're an experienced player, there's a reason why you're going for the down 1. There's purpose, there's meaning behind it. If you're an inexperienced player, you're only doing it because you know Johnny Cage has a bunch of highs, or you're just trying to steal another turn. You don't really understand the power of why that down 1 is very useful in this matchup when going for that combo string, right? So, the Melina player sees Johnny Cage go for this situation here, and they realize, like, okay, this dude just stopped me from backdashing, so I'm not necessarily a fan of that, right? So what is their natural response, right? They time their down 1 correctly, and I mean correctly where they're not mashing it, they're timing it because they're used to their character's recovery whenever they complete a combo string, right? Something like this, basically. See how I'm able to rapidly do it accurately and not like fuck shit up? See how I was able to go for that standing 1 instantly instead of just mashing it? But basically, you're going to go for the down 1, right? That is going to be your response to Johnny Cage's short range advancing high, right? Which is 9 frames better. So when Johnny Cage does this, as you can clearly see, clear as day, Johnny Cage gets punished. Now, what's another option for the Melina player? She can neutral duck and then whiff punish me, right? I didn't do it fast enough, but you get the idea, right? So as you can clearly see, these are the 2 options that the Melina player has access to right here, right? If she was the backdash, she would get hit with the forward 1. So she can either block, deal with the pressure, or she can respond and challenge with an Abari attempt, or she can neutral duck, right? So these are 2 solid options for Melina, which is actually extremely beneficial for her in this matchup, right? Now, depends on the Johnny Cage player's knowledge level, just in general. Crazy how she fucking hit me. But anyway, but you kind of see what's going on here, right? Those are the 2 responses. So what is Johnny Cage's responses to this situation? So instead of going for the forward 1, you substitute it for either the back 3 or the short range advancing mid. And as you can clearly see, she will get blown up for it. She will get blown up for it. Now, her startup time of her down 1 is 7 frames. She's -6 on block already. So if you add the minus frames to the next startup time of the next normal that you decide to use, which is actually down 1, and you do the math for that, it's easier if you just get a calculator out if your math isn't really that good off the top of the dome. If you do 7 plus -6, you add the minus frames to the next startup time of the next normal that you decide to use. Her down 1 is no longer 7 frames. It will come out at 13 frames. We have access to a 10 frame back 3 that will come out 3 frames faster than her down 1. We have an advancing or a short range advancing 9 frame mid that will start up a few frames faster than her down 1. And this will blow her up. Either way, she's going to get comboed, and it's not going to be a good time for the Melina player. So this is where things actually get very fucking interesting, right? We just went for Johnny Cage's 4-3 2 string, right? The reason why we're doing that is because it's a good response to her neutral ducking. It's a good response to her going for this Abari attempt. And it's also a good response because of the fact that, like, she's blocking, right? Because the player is blocking, right? This allows Johnny Cage to actually be safe instead of doing something unsafe, which the back 3 is unsafe with. Because if we go for the back 3, yes, we will stop her from backdashing. Yes, we will stop her from neutral ducking. Yes, we will stop her from going for this Abari attempt, right? However, the risk is that when she blocks it, this is what happens. You will get punished, right? So if we look at how unsafe Johnny Cage is in this game, right? Let's check it out. Go for the back 3, you're minus 13 on block. That's a full combo for the Melina player, right? So the forward 3, however, is tricky. And I'm going to tell you guys why his forward 3 is tricky. Remember the backdash I was talking about with Melina? There, yeah, that shit. Watch this. You see that shit? So this chick could literally, and I'm not joking, she could literally backdash that situation right there when it comes to Johnny Cage. You see how dangerous that shit is? See how dangerous that is? So it's a gamble. It's a good normal. It is. But mid-screen, it's a gamble. The reason why it's a fucking gamble is because she can backdash and literally whiff punish the fuck out of you for doing that normal. So your response would be either the forward 1 or the back 3. Now, if you condition her or the Melina player enough to where they're respecting, because you got to get them to respect, they'll sit there and be stationary. They'll literally just start blocking, right? So what happens here is, like, they'll literally start doing this shit. And like I said before, if she neutral ducks, this is a problem. The reason why this is a problem for her is because if I go for the 4-3, like, she'll get comboed for it, right? So if she decides to block, right? If she decides to block, there might be reasons as to why she's trying to block, right? Or at least the Melina player's trying to block. They probably believe that you might go for the down 3. The down 3 is also a really good response to her backdashing. However, you will get hit advantage, but you are minus on block, right? So if I go for this down 3 and she blocks it, she could technically respond with her down 1, and she has a lot of range on it. However, she also has to take into consideration Johnny Cage has access to, a nut punch and a parry and shit like that. And she could technically down 1 me with this situation here, right? So, as a matter of fact, I'll switch and then, what's she here? Hopefully that was fast enough. Okay. I would assume that was fast enough. Okay. So, as you can clearly see, I'm minus 8 on block, right? So, as you can clearly see, she can't do that. She can't jump, because I'm literally trying to jump, right? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm jumping, and nothing's coming out. See that? Like, she can't go anywhere. So, let's see what happens. So, as you can clearly see, this is kind of bad for Melina in a sense. The reason why is because this is probably going to be the response for her. That's kind of crazy. I think it actually works in a corner, now that I think about it, because I remember this shit actually working, but I guess it doesn't mid-screen. But as you can clearly see, some players will mash, but as you can clearly see, this is another thing that I'm going to teach you guys, and you guys probably aren't noticing why this isn't working, because I do recall this actually working in the corner for her, I think. So I shouldn't have said that. But the reason why this isn't working is because she's hitting on the second active frame. So if you pay attention to our active frames, it says 2 active frames right there, right? But if I hit on the first active frame, it only shows 1. You see that? But because Johnny Cage went for that down 3, it kind of spaced her out a bit. So she's going for a down 1 that is actually coming out at 8 frames. So if you add that second active frame to her startup time is actually coming out at 8 frames. So if you guys want me to make a video talking about active frames, which I did back in Mortal Kombat 11, I can actually do that video in this game and post it up if you guys want me to do that. But now it's making sense as to why it's not working for her. As you can clearly see, she's hitting on the second active frame, which means that this is not a good situation for her because now she's minus on block. Right? Now the question is can Johnny move out of the way to whiff punish her? That's the real question. But she's hitting on the second active frame, right? So when Johnny Cage goes for his down 3, he's hitting on the first available frame, the first active frame. She's hitting on the second active frame. So like I said, it's coming out at 8 frames, right? So it's coming out at 8 frames, and Johnny Cage is, let me see, he's minus 8. So you can't punish situations with the same startup time as the block advantage. So Johnny Cage basically gotten away with it, right? So this is also something that you have to pay attention as well. You have to pay attention to this type of shit as well. If I was to actually lab in this game, I would be extremely dangerous, but I don't take Mortal Kombat seriously, man. It's a party game. It's too much bullshit for me to take it seriously. But people say I suck at the game, even though I have deep information like this. It's truly a blessing to know how people truly believe that. But it's cool though. So anyway, you can kind of see like what the issue here is for the Mileena player, right? Her response is going to be going for that down 1. Because she thinks you're going to go for the forward 1. A player with more experience, they're going to think you're going to go for the forward 1. A player with inexperience, they're just going to mash and just get blown up forward every single time. And you could tell the difference between the two very easily once you get the experience. You can tell, like, okay, this nigga knows what he's doing. He understands this matchup a little bit. Like, he knows why he's doing that. He has a purpose behind it. Yeah, okay. And then the other nigga, you're just like, okay, you're just mashing, bro. I'm going to just fuck you up for it. You don't know anything. And then the most that they'll do is just block, and that's it, right? So the forward 3, which is a short range advancing 9 frame mid, excuse me, it's a gamble. The reason why is because it's possible for the player to backdash and escape this particular situation. However, the down 3 is also an option, and she can't actually punish that situation at all with her down 1, which has really good range because it's hitting on the second active frame, which is coming out at 8 frames, and Johnny Cage is only minus 8 on block. Johnny Cage might even be able to avoid being hit completely. However, I don't know that because I didn't lab that situation yet. Or he could just take his turn, and there's nothing the Mileena player can do about it. What else is there to show with this situation, right? Keep in mind, we haven't done this in the corner yet because things can change in the corner because the pushback on this is going to be dramatically different because there's nowhere for my character to go, right? So that would mean that certain things that couldn't reach will more than likely reach. So we know for a fact that if we go for the back 3, right? We know for a fact that if we go for the back 3, it covers all 3 options that the Mileena player has access to disrespect, our high with. Right, or at least certain normals with, right? Now, technically 4 options because if they try to jump, that's an anti-air. If they down 1, that's a combo. If they try to backdash, that's a combo. If they neutral duck, that's a combo. If they block, that's a combo for them. So this normal is risky to go for with Johnny Cage, right? Especially if the Mileena player has complete knowledge of this. If we go for our holy fucking shit, I didn't expect her to do that, but if she blocks the down 3, right, after going for the forward 144, right, which will lock her down. She mobility wise, she's not going anywhere. She has no choice but to block this. She has to also understand that a nut punch can come out of nowhere. She also has to understand Johnny could more than likely possibly do this to her, or he could parry her, right? So the player has to be aware of this, which I didn't lab this situation right here at all. I'm just telling you guys that this is a possibility that it could happen, right? So the forward 3 is highly effective if she tries to go for the Abari attempt or if she tries to neutral duck, right? However, the weakness is that if she backdashes, you can get blown up for it. You see what's happening here? Now, the benefit of this forward 1 is that you can technically get a combo on the opponent if they backdash, which is going to make them not want to move, and they're going to try and neutral duck, and they're going to try and mash it down 1 to disrespect your high, or your highs just in general, mainly your forward 1 is what I'm referring to. And this sets up what exactly? The mid again. So now they're dealing with a high mid mind game. So then if you get them to respect enough and the mind game is too strong for them and you keep responding correctly, this forces them to block, which sets up plus frames for your forward 1. Not only that, say for example, the Melina player decides to just accept what's going on and they can't hang. They can't deal with the situation because they don't know what you're going to do, right? This allows Johnny to immediately go for a throw, which is going to make them respond a certain way. You could possibly dash up and go for your bread and butter combo string, which is Johnny Cage's 2-1-2 or 2-1-4-4, and you kind of see like what's going on here, right? Now, the problem with this is that you can be checked, right? The reason why I say you can be checked is because you are actually forward dashing. She could possibly down 1 you, or you might get hit with an actual combo string, right? So, let me see if I can actually get this for you guys. What's your timing on this combo string anyway? Okay, I think I got it. See that? I tried to dash forward and go for my 2-1-2 and my 2-1-4. You see what just happened? I'm trying to respond and it's too late. Now, if I instantly do it, it works, right? So let's see what happens if I instantly do it, right? It works. So you have to be pretty quick about it. The weakness, though, is that if you mistime it, you can get blown up like that. Or the player, instead of just risking the chance of going for a standing normal, they'll probably just challenge with a down 1, right? Now, we're going to see what... here's another option that I fucking forgot. I almost forgot. This is another option that the Melina player has access to, which I am not a fan of at all because you already have enough options here to create a very interesting mind game. And for some reason, NRS likes the idea of giving the player situations to where they can armor through shit, even though they're decently minus on block, to where they shouldn't even be able to do that. And unfortunately, this is the case in NRS fighting games, right? This is something that you can do. Which, you know, I didn't know she had an armored move. Maybe I looked at the moves too fast, but she actually has an armored move. Which is this down back 2. So I'm trying to get the timing right. I don't know why she's not going into it. Yeah, you see how she's fidgeting? She's not even doing it. Okay, there we go. So, say for example, I go for the back 3, get blown up for it. Forward 3-2, get blown up for it. Forward 1-2, get blown up for it. So, in this situation here, you read that she's going to do this. One of your options is to just simply block, and then you go for your punish. Another option you can do is you could actually go do this. So let me see if I can get it. I gotta get the timing right for it. I don't think it's off of this normal. No, it's not off of this normal. It's a forward 1, right? No, it's not. Which normal was it? Can't remember. But Johnny can, like, dash forward possibly, but that's risky, so it's not a good idea. But if you try to, like, parry, it's not gonna work. The smart thing to do in this situation is to block. Another thing you can do is you can actually jump, or you can hit her, but the problem with that is like you'll get blown up for it. But the forward 1 is a good way because you'll get damage on her and then you'll be able to get like some form of a combo on her, and she'll get blown up for it. You know what I'm saying? But I could have sworn it was a normal that I went for, man. I can't remember, and I was able to dash forward. I can't remember. But yeah. See, okay. So you have to delay it a little bit. Yeah, I think you have to delay it a bit in order for it to work. Yeah, see, and then it works. But it's ballsy for you to do that, so it's not a smart idea. So for the most part, if you read that she's going to do that armored move, you could go for the forward one just to get a little bit of damage on her, and then immediately block because you are plus on block. So about time that she teleports on the other side, you won't even get punished for it. But if you go for like that mid, it's not going to be a good time for you at all. If you go for like your down three or whatever, um, like you respond with this, like you'll get blown up for it. You know what I'm saying? Like say for example, you try to dash forward. This is the way to beat it. And I wasn't gonna show this, but fuck it, why not? You know. So if you think she's gonna armor, you have to be quick about it. This is why this move is important. And then you know, you go for your combo and you get the idea, right? So this is the response to this move. But you have to be quick about it, right? So if the player reads that you're gonna do this right here, right? What's gonna end up happening is that they can check you with a down one, right? But you have to instantly dash forwards in order for this to be effective. That's why I showed you guys that earlier on in the video, or in the middle of the video, excuse me, where if you dash forwards, right, and you immediately do this when she's blocking, it's still a good thing because even if she's blocking, you know, and the reason why this is good is because even if she decides to block, you can recognize it very quickly and you can actually get a mix up off of it or you can get pressure off of this. And then on top of that, you can stuff her meter burn option here. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm showing you guys these things not because you know it's also to help you guys, but like I told you guys before, if I truly wanted to be that nigga, I could be that nigga. You know what I'm saying? And that's not being cocky. That's just me being honest. Now, here's the thing: what happens in the corner? Because see, you gotta lab this shit in the corner as well, right? So we're gonna take away the armored situation and we're gonna redo everything else again. So I'm gonna have her backdash and we're gonna see what happens. Back three still works. Forward one still works. Grabbing doesn't work. Down two doesn't work. Standing one doesn't work. Standing two doesn't work. Down four, not looking good, as you can clearly see. Down one, nope. Down three still works. Forward one works, okay. Let me look at that back three again, still works, just to be sure. All of a sudden, the forward three is actually working. What does this mean exactly? This means that the Melina player has to make an executive decision on what they're going to do here. You either accept the mid and block it and possibly deal with pressure or the mind game of him going for the parry or dashing past you, or you try to armor, which is an option for her still. As far as going for an Abari attempt, that shit is out the window at this point. It's not happening. It's literally not going to happen because that forward three is a lot safer than the back three. The back three covers significant amount of options mid screen. The back three can cover mainly just two options, which is the down one and the neutral crouch attempt. But it won't cover the backdash. However, in the corner, you can substitute the back three for what? The forward three. Because she just got hit. She can't go for any Abari attempts. She has no choice but to fucking block here. The only response that she has is to either block or she has to spend a bar of meter. But the problem with that is that she's putting herself into the corner. So you got to ask yourself the question, is it worth doing? And are you able to switch sides with my character? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Now, I haven't added the cameo into this, such as Kung Lao, because she can substitute the low for, you know, obviously Kung Lao. Or she could kind of like go for the forward one, don't commit into the full string, and then substitute the rest of the string for Kung Lao's hat. You still got to think about that. But you kind of see what's going on here. So now the situation is going to be a lot different. You understand what I'm saying? The player is not going to be able to do the shit that they were doing before, right? And I'm showing you guys these things because I want to be able to help you guys with the more quote unquote advanced bullshit is what they call it, right? But like I said, if I was to truly lab, I would be a very dangerous Johnny Cage player if I truly cared enough, but I just don't. But if you guys care enough, this video is for you. So I'm going to go for her armored situation, right? But before I do that, I'm going to go for this mid again, right? Now, of course, there's different variations of blocking here because that's also another thing you need to test out. As you can clearly see, if I completely crouch block, this normal still working. However, if you block it like this, right? So hold on. Let me see if I can get it. Crouch block, stand block, crouch block. Is that the right one? Yeah, I think that was it. Hold on. Now, you have to, now here's the thing. It depends on the cameo fighter that she picks. Let me actually correct myself on this shit real quick so that way you guys don't get confused about this. It depends on the cameo fighter that she picks. The reason why I say this is because this can, I told you guys about that video about the power of blocking, and I gave you guys some tips on that and understanding how things can actually change depending on how you block the certain combo string. The reason why I made that video is because it also applies with this situation right here, right? It applies to a lot of different situations, right? And how should I put this? If she was using a character like Striker, now you have a reason to kind of block a different way, which could potentially create more space between you and Melina, depending on how you block, because you might be increasing the pushback or you could be reducing the pushback, which creates the spacing situation. You know what I'm saying? So you got to pay attention to those details as well, right? But because she's using Kung Lao, the most you'll be doing is blocking low. So you're good to a certain degree in this matchup. But if you're using a character that has access to an overhead, or like you're using a character like, if she was using Goro, that's a problem because you're gonna have to stand up and avoid being fucking meterlessly popped up into the fucking air. That's something that nobody wants to take. So if the player is using like a character that can complement her mix-ups for real, like it could change the way, you know, the combo string is in a sense. Like say for example, let's see here. What's a good example of this? Because I'm trying to figure out how to block this in a way that I can make you guys understand. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's it right there. Yeah. So the reason why you're standing up is because you thought, say for example, Kung Lao was Goro. You thought she was about to call out Goro right there, and you stood up, right? See how like there's like space there to a certain degree, and I really hate the fucking buffers in this game because I don't know why the fuck he's doing that. Okay, I'm trying to see if I can do it in a way where like there's space between the both of us, because you're gonna stand up if she's using a character that has an overhead or a command grab. I'm trying to fucking find it. Yeah, there it is. So you see what's happening, right? So yeah. So you kind of get the idea, right? Like you kind of get the idea with the situation. But back to the armor situation, because I gotta end this video. This video is going on too long. So the player will possibly challenge you, right, with an armored attack, right? Which, you know, granted, the player can definitely do that. But you still have the option of doing this. So for Johnny, right, which I don't really do online for some reason. Let me see if I can get it. If you instantly dash up, you can actually do that trick. However, you will lose a little bit of damage for some reason. And you can just be like, where the hell you think you're going? You know what I'm saying? So you have to get the timing right on this and know for a fact they're going to spin a bar, right? The reason why they're probably going to spin a bar is because they don't want you out of that corner. However, they put themselves in the corner. The question is what are you going to do on wake up? Now, they might try to jump out of the corner, or they might call a cameo out, especially Kung Lao, to where they can get out of the corner for free, which is bullshit, but it is what it is, I guess. But you got to get the timing right for this situation here. So that's why practice is extremely important. And then you can go for your fancy combo or whatever the fuck you're trying to do. Let's see here. Let me see what combo I want to do with them. I think it's that combo I was doing anyway, but fuck it, I don't give a fuck. I'm too tired for this. So you get the idea, right? This is a spacing example. Okay, if you guys want more videos like this, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll probably make another video or whatever the case may be. But you got to look at the situation as a whole. A more experienced player is going to understand this situation and they're going to take advantage of the situation. If you do not understand this situation, you're going to be in a certain fucking dilemma because you're going to get your shit pushed back. However, personally, me, I don't take endurance fighting games seriously because I find it highly distasteful for many different reasons. But if you guys take it serious for some weird reason, then you can be my guest and you can use this video for your benefit, I guess. But I think this is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys learned some shit. I kind of rambled on a little bit in this video, but it is what it is. I just wanted to show you guys some shit. And this is the reason why the Melina player will backdash or they'll armor or they'll down one, and you can kind of see what your responses will actually be towards that situation with Melina when it comes to that forward 144. However, I didn't add a cameo into that, but the pushback can be increased to a certain degree in the corner, I think, if she has a character that has an overhead. So say, for example, how should I put it? Goro or maybe Scorpion. Scorpion has an overhead, Goro has a command grab, which in a sense I guess you can classify as not like a true overhead, but it's like an overhead in a sense, because like if you're crouch blocking you can get blown up for it. It's going to force you to stand up because you're going to think that she's going to do that shit, you know what I'm saying? But this actually benefits her in a sense because you blocking a certain way or a different way could increase the pushback in the corner, which allows her to escape that forward 3 possibly, which recreates the situation that I showed you guys mid-screen. However, if she meter burns, she's taking a huge risk and a gamble. The reason why I say she's taking a huge risk and a gamble is because she's risking the chance of her getting punished and put into the corner. And then on top of that, like, it's not guaranteed that even if she successfully hits you with this move, it's not guaranteed she's going to be able to get herself out the corner. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a risk there when it comes to that combo string and Melina just in general, you know? Just the knowledge of both players, and that's just what it boils down to. And there's so many different more situations that I'm looking at here with many different characters, including like her 1-2 combo string, which I haven't even gotten to just yet. So yeah. Hopefully you guys learned something here. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Be safe out there. And also, like I said before, if you're a beginner player, Mortal Kombat's not the game to go to if you're trying to take a fighting game seriously. But if you want to steal turns and break neutral and steal turns again, even though you're unsafe on block and you want to do Mickey shit and get away with it and act like you're good, come to Mortal Kombat 1 or Mortal Kombat in general. Mortal Kombat got you.